Yo, happy July 5th. Hope Canada Day was great for my Canadian folks. I hope 4th of July was amazing for my Americans. We're going to get started with a live production of the Client by Client podcast in about 45 seconds. After, I need to do a small re-recording of a previous episode, which was 62. What makes a killer lead magnet. The recording got all choppy. The internet connection was kind of weird. So I got to record a little small spot. We'll do that at the end of this. If this is your first time here and tuning in, maybe even meeting me, drop me a number 1 below. All of my repeat offenders, clients, friends, and family, drop me some emojis. You guys know the drill. Let me know what's up. Let me know how your 4th of July went or your Canada Day. For those wondering why I keep referring to Canada, about half my clients at any given time are Canadians. Love the Canadians love us. So that's why I say that. Let's top in. We're going to talk about time-wasting mistakes to avoid as an online coach. Hey, what's up? Jeremy here from whatupjeremy.com, back with another episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in today. In the last episode, we talked about what to do if you're feeling like a failure. Throughout my career, I've had clients, friends, family, many of you from my audience reach out in some way or another when things aren't going the exact way that you're wanting them, and you're feeling like maybe it's time to give up, maybe it's time to quit, and you're feeling like a little bit of a failure. I share with you a couple different kind of trains of thought that might help you if you're feeling that way right now. The truth is, as entrepreneurs and as coaches, there's gonna be a time in your life, in your business, where you don't feel like your highest and best self. I'll admit to you that every single day I have multiple times where I suck and I'm feeling like a failure. But the truth is as you get better and as you push through and you implement the things that I share with you on yesterday's episode, you create the kind of existence where you keep getting back on the horse, you keep going ahead, and where things start and continue getting better for you. So even if you have not experienced this failure feeling in your life before, in your business before, I want you to also have the tools to know how to navigate it if and when it creeps in. So be sure to backtrack 1 episode so that you can hear all the things that I've learned in my own life and business and with working with hundreds of clients over the last 10 years for what to do if you're feeling like a failure. In today's episode, I want to talk about some time-wasting mistakes to get them on your radar so that you can either be aware of them and stop doing them if you're doing them, and maybe replace them with some more productive activities. That way you can get a client, hopefully, in the next 7 to 21 days. That said, let's hop in and let's talk about these time-wasting mistakes. If you don't get today's episode correct, if you don't get this right, you don't implement this, there are really 2 things that happen. The first thing that happens is that revenue dips or is non-existent. And that's frustrating because you're running a business and that means that you need money in order to keep it going, to keep the proverbial lights on. The second thing that happens is that you lead yourself into uncharted territory because, think about it. You're putting in time only to have to undo, scrap, and redo. And what you end up with, because you wasted time doing things that don't help you in your business, you kind of realize one day that you have what I call a Frankenstein kind of business where everything is stitched together, nothing is super cohesive, and maybe it falls apart a lot more than what you are liking. So that's what happens if you don't get today's episode right. Now let's talk about these mistakes and a little bit of what to be doing instead. The biggest one being stay tuned into the show, stay tuned in with me because we talk about these things every single day and I give you these tips and resources for how to implement it and overcome it. The first time-wasting mistake that you have to stop doing immediately is working on your website. There are a lot of folks, because maybe you got exposed to coaching through one of the big coaches in the space, a Brendon Bouchard, a Tony Robbins, a Marie Forleo. Love all of those folks. But the way they run their business is the right thing for them to be doing at the stage they're at. They need long-form sales copy because they have a huge audience. And so that sales copy does the salesmanship for them. It's salesmanship in print copy. Joe Polish taught me that back in the day. And they have huge audiences and a lot of people. And they understand, because of their career, they understand what the pains and problems are and what dream reality their target market and their audience members that they have direct access to already know and want. And so they create long-form sales pages. They create very functional, very good-looking, mobile and web-optimized websites. for you as an online coach, if you're below 30K, your website is just not all that important. And if you were to rank the things of importance that are going to help you actually impact a life and help a real human being get results and also get paid to be doing that, which is the whole goal here, right? Is there are many things above working on a website that are going to make that happen. A couple of those things: making sure that you have a juicy offer, making sure that you are every single day getting that offer in front of real human beings that have the pains and problems that you're best suited to solve. So that's just a small example of the things that are ahead of your website. The issue is that a lot of people unknowingly work on their website because they haven't learned yet that they need to be having conversations and making offers to real people out there in the marketplace. They have to get out, proverbially, digitally, or in person, and be listening to people's pains and problems, asking deep questions, and inviting them to take the next step, to either hop on a call with you, to schedule an appointment with you, or to maybe even look at the details of your program. All of those things will lead you to far more money than working on your website ever will. In fact, working on your website, if you're below 30K, has an opposite effect. That's going to cost you money of your domain, of your hosting, of your SSL certificate, of all these plugins and things that you now need because you want your website to look good, which I don't fault you for. But none of those things and any of the dollars that you put into there is going to be the reason why someone signs up with you. And the reason you'll know that is because at the end of a sales call, maybe you ask what inspired you to actually show up today. Like, or you pop the magical question at the beginning that I implore you to, which is why now and why me? And they're going to say why now, and they're going to say why you, for one reason or another. The thing you're typically not going to hear is because, well, I was spending hours on your website, or I was looking through your website, or I went to your website. And what you're typically going to hear is, well, you said this thing in a piece of your content. Or when you reach out to me, you mentioned this thing. Or I've been thinking about this and you happen to reach out to me at the exact time that I was thinking about it, which happens more often than you would think. And if you don't have folks on sales calls to be asking these questions to, is even more reasons why you shouldn't be tinkering on your website. Furthermore, your website's never going to be done. I don't care how pretty you make it, you're never going to be done making modifications. You're never going to be done comparing it to the other people in your space who make far more money than you, or that you don't have enough insight in to know if it's working for them or not. It's one or the other. It's binary. And it's not going to result in you getting a paying client in the next 7 to 21 days. I dare say 90 to 180 days. I'd rather have you working on the things that do. And what that means is having a juicy offer, getting that in front of people, starting conversations, getting visible, turning on the welcome sign in your business, so to say, by getting your face out there on a free social media platform, and not doing it in a way that takes you hours to produce and to edit the video, so that you can actually get out there and start to talk about the pains and problems in the market. The first time wasting mistake to avoid is working on your website, tinkering it, trying to optimize it, trying to make it better. It's never done. It only costs you money and wastes your time, which time is more precious than money. You can always make the money back. The money really isn't the issue. It's at the time. You're not going to get that back, and there are far more things that you could be addressing and doing that actually move the needle in your business far more than your website ever will. Second of the time-wasting mistakes to avoid as an online coach is blindly copying, swiping, and funnel hacking. This kind of builds off of what we just talked about, because many of you think you need a website because you're looking at what others are doing. And I would just implore you to stop looking at what others are doing. There are far more productive things that you can do. And so a lot of people will blindly copy and swipe and hack because they're seeing what other folks are doing. But in reality, the majority of anyone that you would want to copy is so far ahead of you that you implementing what they're doing in their business, it's not going to have any impact on you. Webinars, podcasts, YouTube series, workshops, making new offers in addition to your coaching program, all of these things are time-wasting mistakes when you're below 30K a month. So don't blindly copy, don't be swiping, and don't be funnel hacking, because you're going to end up leading yourself astray, and you wind up with that Frankenstein business. You wind up doing things, and now you're doing a bunch of action, but none of those actions are likely going to lead to you getting a client in the next 7 to 21 days. When you start to zone in your subconscious and your reticular activation system, and you say, what's going to get me a client in 7 to 14 days? Funnel hacking, swiping, seeing what someone else is doing in their funnel and then trying to implement in your business is not going to be one of those things. Chances are, if you're doing one time-wasting mistake number 1 of working on your website, or this one, you're probably also doing time-wasting mistake number 3, which is system optimization. This can be your website. This can be like the automations and the many automations that it can take to run a business if you have a high-tech business. Like one of the reasons that I highly recommend that you avoid ads until you're at 30K a month, until you have the money to like go and pay someone to do it for you, because that's when it actually becomes worth it and even feasible. And now you have the money you got to put out of your own pocket, and you have some time. You don't need the client right then and there because you have money coming in, paying clients, and so you don't need the ads to work, which is when they're going to work way better. And then you have time to optimize it. You're not counting on that money coming back. So if you're working on your website and you're blindly copying and funnel hacking and you're kind of in that stage of your business, you also might be, or you're going to evolve into the system optimizer, which is like you have checklists for everything. You have checklists for the checklist, and you're always trying to like pull apart the system and put it back together. When in reality, good enough is good enough. Albert Einstein says, make it as simple as possible and not more simple. And so there comes a certain point where systems are super important, but sometimes just having it drawn out on a piece of paper is the system, and it's clear and it's out of your mind. It doesn't need tech and checklists and everything to go along with it. There are some things that totally do. What I would implore you to do is to keep it simple, optimize the systems that are going to bring you money. Starting conversations, sending out invitations, making offers, hopping on sales calls. Those are the things to optimize. And I'm not saying optimize in the automations, which you can. I'm saying optimize you in the actions to take and make sure you're checking the boxes to do those things. That way you constantly have calls booked and you constantly have people considering working with you. Thing number 3 is system optimization. Fourth, this one might take you by surprise, self-development. I have self-development here in front of me. I have Alex's book. I've been reading it with my clients. I have Reality Transurfing holding up my computer right now. I do consume podcasts and books and tons of things, but self-development, while it's extremely helpful and it's important for a lot of coaches, becomes the thing that they will start to turn to distract them from the resistance of making offers, of starting conversations, and of selling, which is actually going to get you the client. And a lot of people self-develop themselves into no man's land, where like self-development is an endless thing. So you should be doing it, but you should limit it and constrict it into a time thing. And you should only be learning things that you need to immediately implement that is the next right step in your online business. So a lot of you are going to subscribe to a podcast, or you're going to buy a course, or you're going to buy a book, and it's things that are important, but maybe not things that are as important as where your next client is coming from. So you need to be getting the skills and honing in and harnessing the skills of what it takes to be making really good offers, of starting conversations, and of closing people into your like booking calls and close them into your sales, into your coaching program. If you're not adequate at that yet, if you're not efficient or sufficient in that yet, then the self-development that you're doing needs to only be that. Stop worrying about everything else. Only be listening to it, though, to be looking for that next thing that's going to answer the immediate question you have that's going to move the needle. There is so much content out there and so much educational materials that it's easy to just become an education whore, for lack of better words, of someone who is just so in the education that you're not taking action. And there are more people in this space right now, in that spot, than you might currently think or believe. For every person who takes action on the self-development and goes and does the right thing and does it in the right order at the right time, super important, there are 100 people who are just learning and they're not taking any action on it. And on top of that, they're not learning the thing that's going to move the needle for them. When you find the thing that is the right next step in your business, and you just surround yourself with content, educational materials, mentors, environments, communities where it's focused on that thing, the faster and more likely you are to implement, to get it done, to get the result from it, and move on to the next right thing. The issue when you think about the Frankenstein business is there's all of these things that you think you have to implement, but there's only a few of the things that actually drive results. It's like you want to have the full Frankenstein body, but all you need is like the Frankenstein heart. And if you just had the heart, you'd have everything that you need and more than enough. But you want to have the whole Frankenstein and all of the thing, but it's all stitched together and none of it really works. And maybe the heart is like kind of beating, but the blood can't get to the feet, can't get to the head. So you wind up with this business that just overall doesn't work, that you're constantly pulling apart, putting back together, scrapping, undoing, and redoing, and still not having clients or enough clients to hit 5, 10K a month consistently, let alone be looking further down the road at 15, 20, 30K a month. Fifth, building off of the self-development and implementing the right thing for that moment, for right now, is not following a proven plan. There are so many of you listening right now, and you're subscribed to my podcast and to my social medias and to a bunch of others. And while I love having you and all of the other coaches love having you, and while we all want to help you and work with you and be the reason that you become a success, you will not become a success until you find the one single mentor who has the life and business that you're wanting and has the proven plan and framework. And until you do find that person, it's very easy to get lost. It's very easy to wind up in just doing self-development all day. It's very easy to wind up in just tinkering with your website, doing all these things because you have no one guiding you on what to do now. And even if that coach is doing long-form sales pages and has a business that doesn't look like yours just yet, and they're at a way further point where you're at least in the right room with someone who's been there and done that you can then kind of start to follow and model. And when you do find that person, hopefully they're just a step or two ahead of you. Hopefully they charge more than what you're charging right now. Success leaves clues. And so you're far more likely to succeed when you find that person, when you immerse yourself in that and you turn all of the other noise off, all the other podcasts, all the other books, and you make their word God. Your success will become dependent on this core part here. Whether it is someone that you pay to work with, or maybe it's someone of the past, or like a silent mentor that you just kind of follow and you really implement and you follow their words until you have the resources and funds or the gusto to go and join a coaching program and to entrench yourself in that, it gets really hard to know exactly what to do next. So what I would implore you to do is to find a coach that has the business and the life that you're wanting, because success leaves clues. When you get there, you can ask the dumbest of questions and they're going to get you the right answer that you need. And when you get a little astray, they're going to help you get in line and help you get the right thing to get to where you want to be. And they're going to help you simplify your thinking so that you can actually be taking the right actions in your online business. And if you are anything like me, you have submersed yourself in content and education materials from a lot of mentors and a lot of coaches. Your job now is to cull all the things that are not the immediate next step, and just get to focusing on what is the next thing to drive you and to drive results in your business. Success is very simple. I'll say it again. It's about doing the right things in the right order at the right time for enough time, and then building a system or a team to do that without you needing to be there. It's simple, guys. And so find a mentor that you can go and be in the community and be involved with, and make their word God. Cut out all of the noise that's leading you in other places and just be focusing in on the single thing that you need to hone in on and take action on here today, whether it is me or whether it is someone else. Reach out for help the second that you are unclear, because the universe rewards speed of implementation and organization. Speed to implement the right thing at the right time, speed of organization of your thoughts, of your energy, of your spirit, and of your actions. You follow those things, and I think it's impossible for you to be a failure, that you will end up inevitably finding success and finding the right thing that moves that needle. And the fastest way to that is finding a mentor who's been there and who has done that, who has the blueprint, and making their word God. In the next episode of Client by Client, we're going to talk about how to make your prospects feel like you're in their head, where when they hop on a sales call with you or they're in the DM, they're going to be like, dude, I was just talking about that thing. Or, dude, it's so crazy you bring about because I was talking about that with my accountability buddy. Or they're going to feel like you were, because you know it so well and you know them so well without ever even talking with them, maybe even ever knowing them. They're going to feel like you were a fly on the wall, or you were spying in on their most intimate conversations, and you're going to be able to make them feel like you've been in their head. So be sure to backtrack. So be sure to come back tomorrow, circle back to tune in to episode 68. To tune in to episode 68. Whenever you are ready, here are a few ways I can help you grow your online business. First, download your free copy of GetBookedCRM. My free pipeline management tool helps you get leads and turn them into clients in half the time, and it's 100% free at the time of this recording. So if you're making the mistake of managing your leads and conversations from Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM, or your email inbox, you're losing leads in the cracks and you're leaving a lot of money on the table every single week and every single month. To download your free copy of GetBookedCRM, all you have to do is find me on Instagram and send me the letters CRM. Second, join my free group for online coaches. I've got almost 1,000 coaches and growing from all over the world. They're just a step ahead of where you're at right now, at the exact same stage that you're at, or one small baby step or two behind where you're at right now, and all ships rise in a high tide. Get around them, get around me, and get access to weekly trainings and resources I find useful in my own business that I only share over in the Leverage Coach group. To get your free invite, find me on Instagram, and send me the word group. Lastly, become my next success story. I'm getting a couple coaches together this month to implement my methods to land 15K worth of new clients or doubling your online client roster over the next 30, 60, 90 days. But finding and working with the right people is super important to me. So this is only for you if you are a relationship-focused coach who always puts the human ahead of the money. You've been coaching for at least 1 year, or you're not brand spanking new to online coaching. You'd like to get 3 to 5 clients organically every month from social media without wasting money and time on paid ads. You have at least 300 friends on a social platform, email list, or group. You're willing to take bold action because you know your success depends upon it. And last but most important, you can keep a secret. If that's you, I want you to grab your phone right now, tap that Instagram app, search @WhatUpJeremy, and send me the words case study. When you do that, I'll share with you what we have coming up this month in the Get Clients program, how we're already helping other students to crush it with my methods and frameworks, like Juan, who set up for a 60K month in August. And we'll also identify what part of the program will likely have the biggest impact the soonest in your online business. That way you know what to expect. All you have to do is send me the words case study on Instagram for all the details. That's it for this episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cheers. Thank you guys for being here. Super appreciate you and all the love. I need to record one small thing before we get out of here for an upcoming episode that had a little bit of an issue. So let's go ahead and do that now. This episode is all about what makes a lead magnet just crush it, what makes it killer. And this episode will be published on the 11th of this month. So next Friday, next Tuesday. Totally got that wrong. Okay. We use the example around here a lot of the single moms looking to get their high school bodies back. If you can put yourself in their shoes or think about the pains and problems that they're having, they're on one side of the cliff and they have some frustrations. They're frustrated that the pants aren't fitting the way they used to. They're frustrated they don't look like they did in high school. They're frustrated that their high school bestie still has the same body, but you know, they in their spa are 3 kids deep and they just kind of don't. Those are the frustrations. The fears are what happens if they don't do anything about it? So you talk about the fears. So you talk about the frustrations, frustrated that the pants no longer fit, the sweats are getting a little tight, the sweatpants. Then you talk about if they don't do anything about it, they have to go buy new clothes. They're ashamed when they're shopping for the clothes. They have to go to a plus size store, and all of those things, I think for a lot of women who want their high school body back, are major fears. So you have to talk about the left side of that cliff that they're currently standing on. What are they currently dealing with right now? They're frustrated with, and what happens if they don't get it right in the future? If they continue down this road and don't get the help, don't have the aha, don't get the high school body back, what ends up happening? Then you transpose that with the opposite side. You have the frustrations. So what do they immediately want? Okay, their pants aren't fitting. Well, they want their pants to, they want to be able to fit in the pants that they've been wearing. That's an example of that. You just take it over to the other side and you say, if that's what they're frustrated with, what do they immediately want? And you talk about those things in your lead magnet, and you talk about them in your email copy. You talk about them everywhere you're posting your stuff. And then so we compared frustrations to wants. Then you look at and contrast fears with aspirations. Once the pants are fitting again, what do they really want down the road? They want to feel comfortable in a bikini. They want to feel they want to be able to keep up with the kids. They want to not feel judged at the high school 10-year reunion by all of the other guys and gals there. And they want to feel like they look the best, or they look like their best self. So you have to be thinking about this cliff and the gap in between and agitating it by talking about these things in your lead magnet. What we're not talking about is how to do it and exactly what to do next. What we're talking about is the pains and the problems, and then the wants and the aspirations. And the coaches who are the best at getting in the head of their clients, not taking guesses, but pulling out of them from their prospects and their clients what those real frustrations and real fears are and what the real wants and aspirations are. And when they hear them, they go and modify the content in their lead magnet, the content they talk about on their social media platforms, to get more in tune with it. Because while that lady signed up and she's been a breeze to work with, she paid in full, got results, is my success story that I have on my website now that I'm sharing everywhere. And because they took that person who was the success and they led with it everywhere else, they're far more likely now to attract in more of those types of moms who want to get the high school body back. So a killer lead magnet creates a gap, and it talks about the side of the gap they're on that they don't want to be on, And then it talks about where they actually want to be. In between there is a lot of how and a lot of how to, and that's where you come in. So when you talk about both sides of the chasm, it creates a gap. It creates a gap of curiosity, a gap of, okay, well, how do I get to the pants fitting better? A gap of, how do I get to the bikini body and get to the like 10-year reunion looking like my best? And when they're thinking those things and you've been the person to guide it, or your lead magnet was the thing that got them thinking about it, you could bet your ass they're gonna be thinking, can this person help me? And far closer to reaching out or responding to your text or to actually booking a call with you than they would have been if you were just trying to do it without a lead magnet, or if your lead magnet didn't talk about these things in the first place. Thing number 3, your lead magnet and killer ones, they create a gap. Lastly, thing number 4, building off of that, you have a gap. You've talked about the current frustrations and the future fears, and you've also talked about what they immediately want along with their aspirations for the brighter future. The last thing a killer lead magnet does is it tells them what to do next. The next step should not be buy my program, because you're jumping from a date to asking them to marry you, from date 1 to marriage. That doesn't often work out. Very few situations does that work out, and most of those wind up in divorce. So a couple ideas for you for some calls to actions that make super sense, building off of a lead magnet and trying to parlay that and getting as close to getting a new client as possible. Well, that would be something like, what would make most sense in my eyes is booking a call. And not just book a call or book your discovery call or book your strategy call. Put a nice label on it. Name it something specific. It could be the drop 10 pounds in 30 days strategy session, for if we're thinking about the single moms that want to get the high school body back. Your strategy session, I hope there are some coaches here who help single moms get their high school body back, because you could have the high school body back strategy session, the high school body back immersion, and it's a free session. And over the course of 45 minutes, we're going to brainstorm a 3-step action plan to make the pants fit again, to get the scale going downwards, and to get your energy levels up so that you can continue on losing weight and know exactly what to do to build a lifestyle around it. You also get this bonus and that bonus just for showing up. It's a $2,000 value, but it's yours completely free for making it to the end of this free guide and for being a part of my community. Like, that'd be a great last page on a lead magnet, or at the footer, even better, of a killer lead magnet is saying, book your high school body back call, book your, like, think about the future solution that they're wanting, think about the problem that they're having right now, stick that label on the call. It's far better. It's going to work and convert to book you more calls, far better than saying book a call or book a strategy session. It's saying the same thing, but instead we're leading with what's in it for them and why they should book now. If you don't have a huge audience, I know a lot of you guys don't, and we're building you to get there, but maybe you constrict the availability to create some urgency. Like, I have 2 slots this week, or I only do 2 of those every single week, so be sure to book right now while it's hot and top of mind. And like, now I have so many more reasons to book that call than just book. I got invited to book a call. I have bonuses. It's exactly what I want. I want to get my high school body back. It is, well, like, I'm going to go ahead and book it right now because they might run out of sessions. Like, it's all the things that you're wanting to happen in your business. And so the 4th thing that a killer lead magnet does, and that your lead magnets and your lead magnet needs to do, is it needs to tell them what to do next. We talked about booking a call. Another one, if you have a Facebook group, I'm not saying go start a Facebook group. If you have a Facebook group, maybe it makes the most sense to say, join my Facebook group. They went from now reading your PDF or watching a video training that you sent them without an email opt-in or any of that. You just gave it to them. You said, would you like it? Can I send it to you here? Boom. You didn't put a landing page in between you and them. You didn't put an email opt-in in between you and them. Use your lead magnet to start the conversation. And then at the end of it, imagine they're wowed and you have videos in your group, or you have some other community, some other place, some other thing of resources of a next step for them. So if you have a group, invite them to join your group and build reasons why they should. It's not enough to just have a group and say, join my group. You have to be sharing with them why they need to join and why they need to join right now. Lastly, might be something like, message me this word. Are you looking to get your high school body back starting in the next 30 days? Message me this word. A killer lead magnet will use all 3 of these. It will say, join my group. It will say, book your call. And it will say, become my next success story. message me this word, and we'll give links and ways and methods to get all of those things. Hopefully it's conversation focused so that you can have a chat with them and you can understand what's really going on, and you can manually invite them, because it's great to have in your PDF to have them to book a call, like cross that checkbox off. But that should not keep you from being active in the game of booking calls, because the majority of folks are going to read this and they aren't going to book the call. So that's why you always follow up 24 hours later and say, hey, Christy, are you looking to get your high school body back by chance? Are you looking to drop 10 pounds before summer? Because when you do that, now you've entered the conversation going on their mind. You showed your know-how and your expertise without giving away your know-how and your expertise in the guide. You talked about the problems. They're already now a fan of you and wondering what it would look like. And now you're saying, would you like to work together? Are you looking for this thing? Why don't we book a call? We can brainstorm together. I noticed you haven't booked a call yet. What's holding you back? It's totally free. I do these for free because a small percent of moms will want some help doing it, and we're here for them. Many of them they'll take the action plan, they'll go and implement it, which is totally cool too. Like, we're on a mission to help moms get their high school body back, whether they work with us or not. But a few of them will want the support. They'll want some more access to me. They'll want to be around other moms who are doing the same thing and in non-judgmental place, and they'll want to have all the curriculum laid out for them so they don't have to go and find it. That's what that sounds like. That's what that looks like. And that's what makes a lead magnet killer. Okay. Thank you guys for allowing me some extra airtime to record that little piece. I needed that for the end of episode 62. Today on the podcast, in Apple Podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, is how to build your authority as an online coach. An extremely important episode that we recorded on the 22nd of June. Just went live today on the podcast. So you can go to pod.link/clients and you can find me in this show on your favorite podcast player, or you can go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, search my name, Jeremy Montoya, search What Up Jeremy, or just search Client by Client. If you're getting value from the show, an honest rating interview would mean the world. It would help me get in front of more people. They always say, like, to tell the algorithm. Well, the algorithm is really the audience, and it tells more people that this is worth their time and energy. So if this delivered any value for you, that would mean a lot. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'll see you guys around. Cheers.